Now, previously it was thought that the earth was a flat disk, but the Bible said completely opposite. Isaiah 40 verse 22. It is he who sits above the circle of the earth. Now, that word circle, right, that could still mean flat disk. But when it's translated into English, it's circle. But in the original Hebrew, the literal meaning of the Hebrew word is sphere. A common belief a long time ago was that the earth sat upon a large animal of some sort. But the Bible during that time said that the earth had free float in space. Or as Job 26:7 puts it, he stretches out the north over empty space. The earth hangs on nothing. Now, a common practice to heal sick people was to make them believe. This practice carried all the way to around George Washington's time, and that's actually how he died. But as we know in Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11, for the life of the flesh is in the blood. So the blood is the source of health and life. 2,800 years ago, Matthew Murray, the father of oceanography, noticed the Bible verse Psalm 8:8, describing the paths of the sea. And he vowed to find these paths. Then later he discovered the warm and cold continental currents. His book on oceanography is still used in universities to this day. Now, as we know, Noah's Ark was a ship that had to outlast a global flood with huge waves. And in 1993, a South Korean research center affirmed this when they compared Noah's Ark and its design described in Genesis. They said compared to any other modern design, those designs didn't stand a chance. Now, scientists suggest that at the beginning point of our universe, that the first thing to come into existence were three things: time, space, and matter. All had to come together simultaneously at that point to be created. So whatever caused our universe would have to be timeless, spaceless, and matterless. Or as Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, that's time, God created the heavens, that's space, and the earth, matter. Now in Genesis 2:7, the Bible talks about how the Lord God formed man from the dust of the earth. And in science, now we see that we share 99% of the same elements that are found in the soil. And this was written thousands upon thousands of years ago. Now, Bernard Palissy, he was the first published thinker to express his thoughts about how the rain was enough to maintain rivers. And he is known as the father of the modern day water cycle. And 2,200 years before him, around, give or take, the Bible wrote this in Job chapter 36, verse 27 to 28. For he draws up drops of water, evaporation, which distill as rain from the mist, condensation, which the clouds drop down and pour abundantly on man, precipitation, just like the water. Now, as we know now, there is flowing magma underneath the earth, underneath the crust. And in the Bible, in the book of Job, chapter 28, verse 5, it says, as for the earth, from it comes bread, but underneath it is turned up as by fire. Now, when we look at the fossil records, we see the first creatures to appear are within the sea. They like to refer to this period as the Cambrian explosion. And in the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 20, then God said, let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures. The first creatures he made were in the sea. Now, you might know the story of the Tower of Babel, how God confused the languages of the earth at this tower. Now, recently, they found a cuneiform script that described a large tower built by the then King of Babylon. It even talked about how he gathered all the people of the earth to help him. Now, it's not an unreasonable claim to say that the air is weightless, right? It feels like nothing. But we know we have an atmosphere, right? That was discovered in the 16th century. But way before that, the Bible said in Job 28:25 to establish a weight for the wind and proportion the waters by measure. So right there it talks about how God established a weight for the wind.